It's called a lance. Hello?
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to It's Called a Lance. We have just been chatting for like 20 minutes to wake ourselves up because we were all tired and low energy. I think we're good now. I think we're good to talk to you guys about this funny little book series called Dragonlance. It's called a Dragonlance book series. That's what we're here for. As always, I have with me Austin co-host and Hauntie.
Hi.
It's been a while since I hosted.
Yeah,
I
full of
didn't
energy.
remember if we had a format or anything, but
Well,
we can
don't
wing it.
really.
yeah, the last
we just kind of say
few-
hello.
the last few episodes, I asked how everybody's doing, but that's when I was hosting, so I'm gonna shut the fuck back up.
Yeah, the
Fair.
bit is that we just say hi and move on. That's our gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
So, how is everyone doing? And high level, before we get into any specifics, what did we think of the readings?
Austin, would you like to go first?
yeah.
Or shall
ladies first.
Oh, okay. I am doing quite well. I had a lovely job interview that is promising. So here's hoping that in the next episode I will not be wailing and gnashing my teeth. But I enjoyed the reading a lot. The chapters are very good. They're probably the chapters I remember very strongly from this book in general. But also, I am a little bummed out that we didn't go one chapter further because I have a favorite NPC in that chapter. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
There was just no place to cut unless we wanted to do like 100 pages.
It was the right place to cut. It was the right place to cut. But I just am really excited about the old lady. I love the old
Hell
lady.
yeah.
I think this book series does. Some people have a pet character who they think this series does dirty. I think this old lady she's my pet character who the series does dirty.
Oh, yeah. She's
100%.
great.
Yeah, I love her.
She's great. Also, she is star of one of the absolute funniest goddamn moments in the Dragonlance movie. But we'll get to that later.
All right.
Oh no, do we have to?
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
I'm doing quite well. I have a bit of a cold coming on, which is gonna be awful. But that's tomorrow Austin's problem, and screw that guy.
Hey, Austin, why do you never have a worm coming on?
Because we do. There's a city like an hour away from me that has an evacuation order. My province is on fire again, so I do have a worm coming on. I just don't like thinking about it.
I suppose it's a very different kind of scenario.
As for the chapters, I really enjoyed them. The issue I have is mostly I read them like a week and a bit ago, so my memory's a little foggy.
Yeah, we had planned, listeners. We had planned a week ago to record this, so we did all of our readings back then, and now it's a little foggier than normal. I always do my reading same day, so I'm fresh. But oh boy, what even happened in these chapters?
I assume tragically everybody did not die. I will not give my plot summary from the top of my head like I do every Saturday for all of our TTRPG sessions.
No. I do know that some drag happened.
Oh yes.
Some enthusiastic drag and also some unenthusiastic
Some with some
drag,
protest.
as
Yeah,
one
some
expects.
real Riverwind
Yeah.
gives us some real low effort drag.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Austin, as a fan of the beard, probably will be sympathetic because all
No,
of the
I get it.
protests seem oriented around facial hair here. But
No, I get it. But with that being said, I remember my time back in my high school during a play where I wore a dress and I made that thing look good.
see,
So I get it. I get it.
It is funny that Caramon didn't think twice, even though he's the one guy who this would never work for.
well, he's clean shaven.
He would
is
get caught so fast.
Yeah, well, Caramon is proud and happy with his body. Everyone else is dealing with a whole bunch of societal differences and oppression. Really coming down on men in this era.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it then. Let's start with the chapter summary. Okay.
Oh, you said the thing, Will. You said the YouTuber thing.
I
can't believe you.
Let's just Philip DeFranco right into the episode.
Yeah, there we go.
Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco show. Let's get filled in.
Bless
Yes.
your beautiful chapter summaries. Okay, starting now. The gang infiltrates Pax Tharkus. It was a place once built by ancient dwarves, and now turned into a draconian fortress. It's a good old-fashioned dungeon dive, and soon after entering, they are confronted by a giant slug, and a naive Lorana who has followed them here. It's too late to send her back now, and Tanis's patience with her runs out. A chance encounter with a ghost ends up splitting the party. Tass and Fizban end up on their own, infiltrating the fortress and eavesdropping on Verminard's dragon, Pyros. They learn of the strange Everman that the Queen of Darkness is hunting, but this information hasn't been shared with Verminard. Everyone else rendezvous with the prisoners, and they begin making a plan to stage an uprising, and yes, it involves a lot of drag. They continue to struggle with a they continue to struggle with a traitor in their midst, and it is either going to be Raistlin, Gilthanas, or Eben. Those are the possible candidates. Verminard and Pyros bicker over what to do about the prisoner uprising when the traitor briefs them on it. Before they are able to act, Fizban and Tass are spotted eavesdropping and flee with Pyros at top speed. That's the chapter summary. What a massacre. If you listeners are listening, you're going to hear the nice edited version. God damn, I stumbled there.
Is everything okay at home, Will?
Oh, just my
that was
mouth
a lot of
is
stumbling.
My mouth is made of rubber today.
That sounded like me reading a thing, and that's not good for anybody involved.
You wouldn't believe
Well,
how
we are
many of
all
my
a
editing
little-
hours are just editing out my fucking rubber tongue.
We are all a little sleepy today, so
I'm not sleepy. I'm under the weather.
I'm not sleepy.
I'm not sleepy. Leave me alone, Em. I'm gonna tell my wife.
Oh.
Was she gonna do love you about it?
No, she's gonna say words to M. I hope. Probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Woman
She's
solidarity.
an ally.
Yeah, I know. It sucks for me.
So, Chapter 9. Suspicions Grow. The Slamori. What do we think? What happened here? It's been a week, you guys. What was in this specific chapter anyway? I know the slug was.
The slug was in this
Yeah,
chapter,
but-
and what a
okay, so-
redemption for the giant slug.
Honestly, yeah. I was not prepared for how much ass a giant slug would kick. I do have to say one thing about the giant slug though. It paid a callback to me to the times when we were all playing not DDO, Neverwinter Online, with the flail snails.
Oh, I remember the
And
flail
we were the
snails.
flail snail brigade because everybody got one after like a certain quest.
Yeah, they just gave you the most like weird exotic mount ever. So like everyone had one.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. This flail snail represent. The other thing is we learned about there was a magical sword involved. I think that was in this chapter because they use it to stab a snail. A slug. A giant slug.
Is that what happened? It's amazing
Yeah.
what you forget in a week.
Yeah, I just remember it because I read it twice, and I'm like, oh my god, that's really intense. Because the regular weapons were not having a lot of effect against the slug's rubbery skin.
What a beautiful
That is
sword,
true.
Tasselhoff said. Okay, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Did they take it
Yeah,
with them after? God
Oh,
damn.
absolutely! They got a
Good,
magic
okay.
sword, dude.
Who got it?
This is
who's got the sword now?
Who do you think?
Protagonist Tanis.
Yeah, of course it's Stannis half-elven. It's an elven sword. It's got to go to the half-elven dude.
Got it. Okay, I gotta start keeping character sheets so I remember.
Yeah, and it's AD&D. I imagine, I haven't played a session yet, but I imagine getting a magic sword in AD&D is a big fucking deal.
It usually is, yeah. The magic sword is a very important piece of any adventuring party's overall kit.
Yeah, I mean, back in my day of 3.5, that was the first thing you purchased when you got to level 4, or if you were starting a level 4 character.
Yeah, and this is this particular magical sword, Mantooth, is a very beloved and well known sword in the Dragonlance canon. Yes, it is named. It is named indeed.
As every sword is, despite that slander that Game of Thrones did.
Okay, what slander did Game of Thrones do?
Oh,
because I only watched it.
The Hound. Someone was like, "Oh, this is my sword, such and such," and he was just like, "Oh, of course you fucking named it."
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but
there's a moment of just making the entire He says it with such gusto that it makes all of fantasy suddenly go, "Oh, I didn't know that was dumb. Is named swords cringe now? Oh shit, I'm embarrassed."
Yeah,
we're coming around. Named swords really was the right way. The Hound was just a bully.
Yeah, the
He
Hound
was
is
bully.
a dick. Have you not learned anything about the Hound?
I mean, just because
No one
someone's
likes
a
the
dick
Hound.
doesn't mean that they can't make you feel like you are cringeworthy. In fact,
Yeah,
It's true.
good at it.
Yes, they practice. But fortunately
Yeah.
for us, this sword, it doesn't have just one name, by the way. It has 5 names. So it is Mantooth most famously, but it is also known as Mage Killer, Spell Cleaver, Mage Fool, and Dark Star. Yeah,
Oh
got
hell
some
yeah!
pretty cool names.
That's
That's
a
pretty
lot
good.
of metal albums right there.
Yeah, it is, right?
If he upgrades this sword, it's going to be very anticlimactic, but I feel like he's going to keep this throughout the whole series. I don't remember
pretty
much about
sure-
Tanis' sword. So
I'm pretty sure it sticks with him forever. Yeah. Wait,
oh, yeah.
am I getting it the wrong sword? I might be thinking of the wrong sword. Hold on.
I was going to say, I didn't remember 5 names for a sword, but I
No,
also didn't
no,
remember the
I-
sword, so I'm a little behind here.
Yes. Sorry. No, this is not Mantooth. Mantooth does come up later in the series, but no. This is Wormslayer. Sorry.
Okay.
It only has the one name because the elves are not indulgent like that. My apologies. It does have a sister though. So
Yeah. Oh no, I might have skipped a lot
and we
of
also
chapter
see
9.
Lorana out from
Yes.
behind the
Yes.
slug. We
Yeah.
get a nice big character moment here. She was the one who was following them after the cliffhanger last time.
yes.
Yeah, and now is my chief suspect for being the traitor because no
Who
one
is?
would expect her.
Oh, Lorana.
Lorana,
Yeah, of course. Like
you've spoiled it, Austin. You've spoiled
Yeah, I've just
it.
been gushing over Lorana for like the last 6 months, just as a throwaway.
Yep.
I mean, it does sound like something that I would have done. I would have gaslit somebody for 6 months for a bit, but I'm not a good
Austin.
person like that. I have a story. Are we cool for a slight tangent about Game of Thrones?
If it's
Y'all
quick,
ready?
we do have a
Okay.
fair
quick.
length of
Yes.
time to get
Do
through.
you all remember the Red Wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my wife was asking me for spoilers while we were watching the show, particularly about Rob Snow. Not Rob Stark. And I look at her, stare her in the eyes. Yeah, no, he lives happily ever after.
Oh no.
Yes, that was a real challenge
and-
to our relationship because
I was about to say, you're
boy,
still
howdy.
married.
we were dating at the time.
Ah.
I would not have blamed her for ditching me for that moment, but she didn't ask me for spoilers again.
Oh, there you go. Fair. Damn.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a nice person.
You
Yeah,
are.
that's quite the shock. That scene in
Yeah.
even knowing it was coming, they started off in a way that's so shocking. But anyway, digress.
Anywho. Yes.
Yes.
Dragon
Lorana
Schmance.
is here. Tanis is mad. Everybody else is like, "Oh, Lorana's here." And Tanis,
Yeah.
you dumb fuck. Why have you done this?
Yeah. It's 'cause he loves her and he doesn't want to see her get hurt.
And that's the easiest way of convincing somebody to leave you alone is you push them away because
Yes.
that doesn't make the heart grow fonder or anything or
No, it is. It is what all men like Tanis do.
Yeah, don't be like Tanis. Express your emotions.
He expresses them just, only after he's monologued about them internally for like a week.
Yeah. Express your emotions in the presence. Don't monologue for a week. Or do. I'm not a relationship advice guy.
Yes.
But to her credit, after being yelled at by Tanis, Lorana kind of goes soldier mode and is just kind of, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to do my job, do what I'm told. And if I got to fight, I'm going to do the best I can. It's, she does okay here.
Yeah, because, she was trained in the elven arts of war.
Ceremonial
was.
ways, it says. But
Well,
yeah,
ceremonial ways.
What do we think the ceremonial ways are? I was like imagining, what's that martial art that is just a dance?
No. See, what, capoeira or something like that?
Capoeira, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's just a dance, but like it's a martial art that's not like actual meant for fighting. That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, I definitely see like a ceremonial combat art as being like probably like for dueling, right? Much like capoeira or something, like primarily for dueling, not for a battlefield, and probably not with a great deal of actual like sparring where people get injured or hurt. But then again, this could also just be Tanis and Gilthanis being dudes. Right, like they could just be like, "Oh well, you never actually."
Well, they do specify that the elven women only fought with the men once, so they may just be blatantly dismissing them out of hand.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
it
watched
could be
that
the same
episode
exact
of
training,
Avatar.
Exactly, like it could be the same training, but if they never actually go out into the field and put it to the test, then I suppose the men would be like, it's just strictly for show,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm landing. Is I think they're trained in legitimate combat forms. They just don't go out and train every day.
Yeah. Considering Margaret Weiss is the way she leverages women in the series, I think that's probably the most accurate assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, plus, and we've also found that even if Lorana, even if she truly is only kind of trained, we do see that a lot of the enemies they're facing are totally the skill level she could take. Like,
oh yeah,
goblins in this setting, like Tika seems like she's able to handle a couple of those, and she just has swung a frying pan a few times. So I think Lorana will be okay. And if she is not fully trained, she can just let one of the more experienced fighters handle the big stuff until she levels up a few times. it shouldn't really be a problem. We were just talking about this last week with AD&D level gaps.
Yes. I think that they'll be fine. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
And the
hell
fact that
yeah.
she has prior training suggests to me that she does definitely have a level or two in fighter already, probably.
And it's always fighter, because AD&D.
Yes. I mean,
Austin,
there are
how
other
many-
martial classes, but
How many fighters do you think are on this team, according to, like, the official AD&D character sheets? I looked up before we started recording.
God. Fucking literally goddamn well everybody.
Yeah, basically everyone but Raistlin and Tass are fighters.
yeah.
Isn't Tannis a ranger? Is that a thing in...
No,
Oh,
he is not.
so yeah, fucking everybody and their sister is a fighter.
Yes. Correct. But that's
Okay.
necessary to let, especially for the books, to let the wizard and the cleric shine as magic users,
Oh, absolutely.
I don't mind that it makes
It's not-
everyone, or it makes those classes feel special. It just never works out that way at the table.
well,
It never
I
does,
mean,
especially nowadays,
Yeah, a lot of time at the table, you want to cover all of your bases. Have one dude as your typical 4-man band, a fighter, a wizard, a cleric, and a rogue. That way you can more or less just handle any situation.
Well,
And we're joined by Podcat, Juniper.
The
Hello,
Podcat.
Juniper. a 4-man
so-
party in AD&D definitely needs 2 fighters, unfortunately. So you're skimping on either the rogue, the wizard, or the cleric.
Well, you never want to
Probably
skip on the cleric. Like, let's be
Yeah,
real
you're probably
here.
skipping on the wizard, to be honest, in a
Honestly,
4-man party
yeah.
for AD&D.
See,
'Cause
in
you
the
need the rogue for
CRPGs,
traps.
in the AD&D CRPGs, you'd always have at least one of those fighters be multi-classed, but what a
Yeah.
pain in the ass to understand how to do that in tabletop.
Always.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter the edition. They try to fix multi-classing in every edition, and it's always still confusing.
Oh,
I don't
beyond
know.
confusing in AD&D. I have tried to understand it.
Oh, no, AD&D is very easy. You just split you split your experience point pool, and actually you don't split your experience point pool necessarily if you're getting class-based XP, but you just level them up, and there is no cap. The cap is whatever your level cap is for that class. So you could theoretically have a character with like 40 levels in classes.
I might be
Theoretically.
thinking AD&D first edition when I'm thinking of the hellish of
First edition might be
multi-classing,
different.
where it's like, or maybe I'm just thinking the gold box games where it's like, yes, well you have to pause the class you're currently on and
that is
choose a
true.
new class, and all of your abilities go away in your old class. And then eventually,
Yes.
when you've fully capped out your class that you've multi-classed into, suddenly you have both classes again. It's like, what the
Yes.
hell is this? Who designed this?
That is, I believe that's dual classing actually, which is a totally different system, but both are present in AD&D because one, I think humans can multi-class or something, and another one can dual class, or it's the other way around. But yeah, you're meant
I
to
hear about
start
stuff
as a
like
in
this,
multi-class
and I'm
at
like,
first level.
We've been slandering Thaco. That was nowhere near the worst stuff in old D&D. Not even.
Yeah. Indeed. Hi, licorice.
So, why don't I mean, I was capable of forgetting a magic sword in Chapter 9. So why doesn't somebody
Yes.
else get us started on Chapter 10? Someone who has a working brain.
Chapter 10. Yeah, let me flip through my book here real quick just to refresh it. They fought the slug, which was a really incredible fight, right? This is where this is actually a really interesting scene. I really liked this scene because they find the tombs, right, where the
Yeah.
evil, all the evil that Raistlin was saying was present in there, is sort of isolated. But we learned something interesting, which is that like the way this evil is described, of course, is not particularly sinister. Actually, they're the dead guards, right? The dead knights who who served in this place, and now they've sworn oaths to continue to defend it, and so their spirits linger there. But they're still evil, which is a thing from the AD&D days, of course, because all undead, regardless of their origin, and regardless of their personal alignment, are ultimately the stuff of negative energy, right? That's what sustains them. And negative energy in AD&D is the energy of evil. So that is why. But a very cool thing happens where they're like, oh, how are we going to get through this? What are we going to do? We have to find another way. And then Fizzband's just like, what? What are you talking about? And like, they just go with Goldmoon.
Yep.
And nobody bothers them.
And then, they find a much worse ghost.
Yes, perhaps an even greater source of evil. And one of the most, not only an awful ghost, but one of the most hated lore contradictions or inconsistencies in all of Dragonlance.
Yep.
Yep.
You mean
Dark
the dark elf?
The
they
drow,
say,
the dark elf who was...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that the drow are like a thing from a long time ago. It seems to be implied here that they don't have them anymore. At least that's what I got out of it.
Exactly. Like she's meant to be she's a drow banshee of some kind. And where is it? It's like the spirit of a dark elf. Where did the word drow? I thought I highlighted it. An evil elf of ages past is how she's described. So it's not that the drow are described as being a thing of the past. My interpretation has always been that when they utter the word drow here, they are not at that time in the history of D&D referring to black skin, white hair, black eyes drow, right?
Right.
My understanding is that they're probably just using the word drow as an elven word for dark elf. That's always been my interpretation. I think that's the one that resolves the conflict for a lot of people. The word is the same, but it doesn't refer to the same kind of people. Because, of course, dark elves in Dragonlance are a caste of elves, not a race of elves. Any elf of any elven subspecies can become a dark elf just by virtue of being evil. So, yeah, but a lot of people, it's not very well liked because Dragonlance... Yeah,
I have always preferred that kind of style rather than like, the evil elves are like a specific racial group of elves. That's always been a little weird.
Yeah.
I understand
agree.
they've written around it and, but
well,
I do like the just like, elves that are bad. That's a drow.
Yes, to be fair to the drow, the original drow of Greyhawk, I don't really touch the drow of the Forgotten Realms myself. But the original drow that Gary Gygax conceived of were not an innately evil race of elves. In fact, there were neutral elves among the drow in their cities, or their one city anyway. The reason their society was like 99% or 98 or 95% evil was simply because when you have a monoculture in one evil city that is completely self-contained with no outside trade, if you are a member of a good alignment, that evil city is probably going to hunt you down and kill you. And also only a few neutral people will remain in the first place. But Gary definitely wrote drow who were, he definitely wrote that there were drow who were neutral and sometimes fled the drow encampments to go and live on the surface among others. So
Yeah.
just throwing that history out there. It was the Forgotten Realms that did them dirty.
This is true.
Sorry, Ed. Sorry, Ed. I'll
Also
never
in this
respond to one of my
chapter-
tweets again.
Also in this chapter, we got Eben has been kind of, he's been pretty hard on the whole like traitor angle. It seems like before Eben got into the party, everyone was like, "Oh, sounds like there's a traitor somewhere." It doesn't necessarily mean they're in the party. There's just a traitor somewhere.
Yes.
And now Now we get Eben in here just like, that's a traitor. You're a traitor.
Well, we're all
a traitor.
traitors.
Gilthanas is a traitor.
I'm not cheating on
Everyone's
you.
a traitor.
You're cheating on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost as if
Yep.
he's trying to sow doubt and worry amongst the party.
I'm just going to say
So strange.
he smelt it, so he might...
He must have dealt it.
I don't know. My money's still on Lorana. She was the last one to show up, so obviously she's the traitor.
Fair. But yes, Eben is definitely being a little sussy. And before, that's pretty much it for the chapter, I think. But before we move on to chapter 11, there is one more controversy in this chapter for Dragonlance fans, specifically those who have played Dragonlance in AD&D, and that is Sturm talking about how useless the piles of gold coins are.
Gold bars.
Yeah, gold bars. That's right. Yes, talking about how they don't use gold as money anymore, pretty much. And that they only use steel. And let me tell you that the moment you are running a Dragonlance game, and you mentioned, everyone, that coinage is steel, is the moment they start asking, oh, well then what's the raw value of a sword blade? What's the raw value? Can I melt down coins to make how many coins do I need to make a shield? What do I need? It's just, and then people start trying to do the math, and it's a pain in the butt, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Comment if you've gone through this trial like I have so many times.
And I assume that's why you just switched back to gold.
No, I still use steel coins in Dragonlance because it's tradition to go through this hardship.
Okay,
It's just a pain in the butt, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to when you run it for us.
Yes,
I don't want to knock the steel coins thing too hard because, like, it is kind of a cool element that the world only cares about the practical metal. I think that's fun. But then on the other hand, like, my brain goes to, like, well, if the metal's so precious, why are you, like, wasting it on making coins? Like, the reason that gold and silver coins were such a big deal is because for most of history, we couldn't actually do anything practical with it.
Yeah. I imagine that it was probably started out with barter, right? Like, people were probably bartering, like, iron ingots or, like, steel ingots originally to each other because that was where the value was immediately post-apocalypse, post-cataclysm. And then at some point they just started stamping ingots so that people could be sure of where they came from, and then eventually that turns into coins. But yeah, it is, I suppose it's part of that myth that a coin is a store of value based on what it's made out of, which is not actually true even for gold coins in history. Gold coins could have a different value depending on the nation that stamped them, not just based on the weight, but, history.
Yeah, but we're not here for that nonsense.
No, God.
Yeah, ew. What?
Why would we get into the nitty-gritty of mercantile transactions when
on this exciting episode of It's Called a Lance?
Yes.
Mercantile exchange, our personal favorite.
What is this, Star Wars? I don't know.
Listeners, sit tight. We have to come up with a commerce policy for the world of Kryn.
Yes.
So, Via, if we're going to do that, why are they using steel for something like swords?
We're not. We're going on to chapter 11.
Why is no one talking about the tax code?
No, we're going to chapter 11
why is nobody
because
talking about the tax code?
We get our first picture of Lord Verminard right there at the start of page 11.
He's so iconic. His
amazing.
armor is so iconic. It still looks good. This is like good-looking modern fantasy armor, even.
Yes. The only thing they got wrong was the cape, but man, it's still a great cape. And that's just because his cape has a big white fur. He could be covering the white fur collar, actually.
He could, big
It's
gestures.
Swooping it up dramatically, yeah. But I love
this
Dragon High
reminds
Lord
me,
armor.
I think of, I want to say it's Lokir Fellhard from Warhammer Fantasy. I think that was the character.
No, it's a great item actually in AD&D too to drag it back to the game again briefly, because they did one thing that was so smart, which is it has one trait where like you can't loot it. You really shouldn't loot it as a player character if you ever beat one of these guys, because it's designed in such a way that it doesn't work for anyone except the person who it was forged for. Like it gives you penalties in combat. So it is the armor that a Dragon Lord fights in, and it is the armor that a Dragon Lord dies in, and it is the armor that a Dragon High Lord is buried in. And I'm so happy about that. Always.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And there are going
Your paladin
to be,
isn't going to go around sporting that, you know.
there are going
Until he becomes a dragon lord.
lords, and they will
Right,
also
yeah.
be cool, and I will not spoil anything about the High Lord that I'm sure Hauntie and I are both thinking of.
Yeah, please
Oh,
don't.
yes.
I'm not at that chapter yet.
I think it's next book. It might
It is
be
next
revealed
book.
at the end of this book. I don't remember. It's probably
Yes.
It's probably revealed at the end, but yeah.
It might be. Is it? I don't remember. No, I don't think it is.
have-
I think she
I have memories of it being revealed at the end, but I could be wrong.
could.
I mean,
I
we'll
think-
find
Let's get
out
revealed
next
at the
time
end
we
in
post.
the movie.
Yeah, I guess we got to do one more episode to talk about the end of the book and find out.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Man.
Between
But
that
yeah,
or
we'll-
we just end
we'll
the
talk
series
about it
now.
then.
Yeah. I was going to walk away
Yeah,
at the end
listeners,
of
sit
this
tight.
one,
We're
but I
just
guess
going
I
to finish the
can't.
book
Yeah.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah, real time, unedited.
Anyway, Chapter 11. Lost. The plan. Betrayed.
Tass and Fizban are somewhere else. Didn't end
Yes.
up going with the rest of the party. And they
It's
start
true.
having some wacky misadventures.
Because they are not alone. They are, in
Because
fact,
they are not alone.
traveling with one of the most iconic of all Dragonlance secondary characters ever
puff
created. Yes, the puffball. Thank you for picking that
yeah.
up.
I gotta tell you, I remember last week I was a little down on Fizban. I was like, his antics don't really connect to me as an adult. I feel a little bit annoyed. But then we got to
Right.
the puffball, and it's like, nah, baby, he's back. Fizban still got it.
I love that puffball. It's
I mean,
it's such a good
certainly
character.
certainly not half the puffball his father was.
No, but who could be?
No,
I mean, that
but,
was
you
a
know.
puffball. But this puffball, he's plucky, you know. He's a little. He's clearly
A little
fresh.
down
He's
on
like a
this
level one
puffball,
puff.
honestly. What kind of
Yeah,
puffball's
yeah.
scared of the dark?
A child. He's probably a very
Yeah.
young puffball, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are scared of the dark. Like, you leave that
Yes.
alone. That's a very common fear.
Yeah, but their job isn't to be a flashlight.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? Well, shut up.
You know.
Like you leave the puffballs alone.
Yes. What do you guys think the puffball? I think the puffball is like. It's got to be like some kind of fire elemental, right?
That's what I figured it was. It was
Yeah.
just a very tiny fire elemental that had a lot
Yeah.
more flavor added to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he clearly like says it as though it's a light spell, but it doesn't act like a light spell.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sentient.
Because Fizban is way too high of a level to be hanging around with these nerds.
And we know that because at some point in this reading list we've got here that we covered today, he just like Men in Blacked a Tasselhoff when he saw too much.
Yeah.
Yes. Which was a good moment, to be honest. So we've got the puffball down. Tasselhoff loves the puffball and is immediately the puffball's bro. As
I
they
think
try
this
to
is
make their
why
way
I
through the dark.
remembered Tasselhoff being a much sillier character. Is I remember moments like this where he's a good foil for silly characters because
Yes.
Fizban will do funny, jokey stuff, and Tasselhoff will just be like, "Oh, wow!" You know,
Right.
he's real good at going, "Oh, wow!" You know,
Yes,
but he's
also
necessarily doing the jokes.
right. Well, and also Tasselhoff is very good at being like, "Oh wow, golly gee," but like he's also especially for someone as zany as Fizban, a good straight man, because he's like he meets Fizban and other wacky characters at their level. But you can tell he's in those moments, he's often the more rational character. Like, Fizban will go off on some tangent, and Tasselhoff is like, well, I really think that we should be doing this, although that is a really super cool. Like, but we should probably go and find this person, even though that's really cool. Like, so I think that's it's interesting because it kind of, when you read it again, at least for me, it highlights that he does have a degree of maturity that I think memory does not allow him to possess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said much earlier, and will repeatedly say, he's probably my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I love Tass.
Wait, are you no longer Team Raistlin?
Oh no! It depends on the day.
Wait,
it depends on the.
Okay.
It depends on the chapter I'm currently reading. They're tied for first place.
Raistlin didn't get a lot of screen time in this reading, so we're probably
all the
Raistlin downswing this episode.
All the reading on Raistlin is basically everyone dogpiling on him, calling him a traitor, even though he has done literally nothing.
See, I love that they're like, okay, there are 3 potential traitors. It's either Gilthanas or Eben, because they were gone at a specific time and it all lines up for them to be traitors. And it could also be Raistlin, because fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, you know, at some point you just keep saying it out loud and it starts turning into a push. You know what I'm saying? Like, poor Raistlin.
The poor guy. And like, yeah, like you get the trope though in games like this where it's like, you know, the party like the party has to play nice with someone who's obviously evil because they're another player and you can't be a dick here. Whereas in Dragonlance they just kind of don't. Raistlin's like he's got that sinister vibe to him, so we're not tolerating that. We see it. What are you doing? You're twirling your mustache right now. We're not going to pretend that's not happening.
Yeah, I thought you wrote neutral on your character sheet.
He just has a bit of an awkward vibe, and everyone is just dogpiling on the dude. And I'll be real, like, that's what gets people to turn into jerks.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it on the internet all the time.
Yeah, don't be mean to the weird kid in the corner. Just kind of leave him alone.
Especially if he knows magic.
Especially if he knows magic. Or, you know, talk to a teacher or a loved one if he's claiming to know magic, you know.
Well, yeah. Maybe call his parents.
Maybe, yeah. There could be a lot of stuff going on at home. I don't know.
Like a bigger brother who, bigger but younger brother who, you know, enables him, and yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, they're bonding, they're having a good time,
climbing giant chains, looking for things.
Flint's
while everybody
pretty worried
else,
about Tass.
Of course, because they are the best of friends.
Yeah, because everybody loves
like
Tass.
Well, they're like the Laurel and Hardy of Dragonlance, Flint and Tasselhoff, you know. One really shouldn't exist without the other for very long.
Oh, and they finally
happened
catch
in
a
this
glimpse
chapter?
of Verminard, which is why we got to see his picture.
Yes.
Yes.
He's so cool.
He is pretty rad. I'm looking forward to when he gets shanked or something.
And he's mean to everybody. He wants to feed the gully dwarf to his dragon companion Ember. He's even mean to Ember. Like he even bosses the dragon around,
which is a bold fucking move. I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of fun.
He's just like
mean right back.
Oh, you went super robotic there for a second, Will.
Oh, really? Oh, how about now?
Now you're better.
Yes.
You hear me now?
I
Yes,
can hear
you went
now.
like
Okay.
Was what it sounded like.
Oh,
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, the dragon is mean right back. They're both schemers, and they're both scheming against each other. See, this is the problem. I'm always telling people about evil. it can get some stuff done, but it always self-cannibalizes before it can finish the job.
Exactly, because every evil person in the group is out for their own designs at some point, right? Eventually, they're going to conflict.
Exactly.
But that's not going to stop Verminard from telling Ember to put some damn clothes on before we have company, please. Stop making a mess, honey.
Okay, yeah, but like at least I kind of get that. Like put some damn pants on. Like
Yeah.
we're about to have company over.
Mm-hmm.
We find out this chapter that Pyros has been given a job personally to find the Everman, also known as the Green Gemstone Man. I think I like Everman more because I picture like a dude with a beard in a waterfall, like just soaking in a river. That's an Everman to me.
I just Will, you remember the time when we spent a weekend at the cabin? By weekend, I mean 2 days. And I was sitting on that chair, just hitting that perfect Zen pose. That's kind of what I picture as the Everman.
You were the Everman right in that moment. Absolutely.
We all should ascribe to be the Everman. Unless he's a bad dude, and I'll find out later.
Yes. Yeah, something I think that one last thing to say about their relationship, though, is that with this Everman hunt, is it kind of shows, especially because Pyros speaks so openly about this with one of the Draconians, and I think their spy, he's talking? No, it's a Draconian. It seems like there might be a secret sort of unspoken gulf between the humanoid members of this dragon army and maybe what the Dark Queen and her dragons want. Right.
Well, I mean, of course, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Dragons
It's
are
really
incredibly
dragons.
prideful creatures, and we're not going to be subservient to something that they are obviously more intelligent than.
And it also makes Verminard feel like you understand what's going on with him a little bit more contextually in this moment, because like Pyros is the one who's like actually kind of low-key in charge here. But they need High Lord Verminard to, like, technically be in charge here because you need humans in order to disrupt the human kingdoms during these conquests. But, like, the dragons, they know, or they think know, that they're the ones who are actually in charge here. It's an interesting dynamic.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Chapter 12.
Chapter 12. The Parable of the Gem. The Traitor Revealed. Tass's Dilemma.
Oh my gosh, she's got a dilemma? Is it time for the drag yet? No. Oh, but they start to talk about my favorite dragons, speaking of dragons in this chapter. There's a bit of a time jump between this chapter and the last one, of course.
There is. I was confused a little bit because this is actually where I had picked up. I had read the first bit, and then two or 3 days later, I read this chapter, and I was like, "Wait a second, what did I miss here?"
Yeah. They kind of pick it up. They review. They pick up the time jump, like a few paragraphs in, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh, and yeah, we finally found the place," but they jump to them. They've found the prisoners. They are spending time with the prisoners, and they are discussing things with them. And it seems like the prisoners have a leader, a woman named Merida. And we learn a little bit about some of the dragons that are at this place.
Yeah. We learn like the variety and like the way that the prisoners are held, which seems relatively clever to me.
Yeah,
Sometimes I read,
it makes
like,
a lot of
fantasy.
sense.
Yeah, like sometimes I read fantasy scenarios and I'm like, I guess that can be justified as a thing. But like their way of keeping the prisoners like this, where like they got, I mean they do it along gender lines, which you don't necessarily have to, but they do like the men work the mines, and then you keep them in place because their women are held in a separate cell, and those are their wives and mothers and stuff. And then, like, the kids are somewhere else. This all makes sense to me, so, like, nobody can try a breakout loved ones
Without
in
risking
sense.
something.
Yes, correct. And but weirdly enough, it seems like the jailer, at least for the children, is one of these dragons, these red dragons, and Merida is speaking very positively of her, actually. Like,
Yeah.
Tannis keeps trying to be like, but it's a dragon, and she's like, oh, stop.
Yeah, but it's like one of the good ones.
She's a nice old lady.
Yeah,
She's good with the kids.
Might be a
She's losing her
dragon, but
mind
the
a
kids
bit.
love that thing. You're not going to take away the dragon.
Which is a wild thing to say in Dragonlance, a world where dragons, just by their very presence, inspire like magical dread and fear in the people who witness them, right?
Yep.
So it's like, man,
Yeah, in particularly red dragons, because they're not the nice ones.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all kind of jerks.
All the chromatic dragons are jerks, but the red dragons are the jerks with tempers. They're the quarterback jock from a 1950s nerd movie or something, like
They're those
1960s nerd.
balanced jerks.
Yes.
Yeah, if I recall, it was green or black dragons, one of those ones you could almost do dealings with.
I mean, you can do dealings with any of them. It's just that the green dragon is gonna the green dragon is going to like string you along and make you look like an idiot over and over and over again. The black dragon is just gonna ignore you and like look at you funny every time you're around. The blue dragon's gonna talk mad shit about you constantly. The red dragon is the one who's actually gonna shove your head in a toilet, flush the toilet, and then put you in your in a locker. Like. And then the white dragon is just going to be there being like, like the whole time while the red dragon, kicks your ass.
Yeah, because they're the dumb ones. But I
That's
still
the
love
dynamic,
white dragon. Yeah, I love white dragons.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
They were super cool.
Well, we'll get some white dragons eventually.
Hell yeah! I assume that they will always be good and never a problem.
No,
Oh.
definitely not.
Oh.
They will be a problem. A big problem.
For the
Sorry.
baddies?
No,
Oh.
I'm sorry. They're part of the dragon armies too.
Now I'm sad.
Wait till you meet their lunch. So. Yeah, so we have we learn about Flamestrike, who is babysitting the children.
She
We
had
also
dragon
learn,
babies. They have been lost.
Yes.
And now she just goes, human babies. That's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. We also get the drag in this chapter, finally. The Draglance.
The Dragonlance.
Yes. We learn, of course, that like Caramon and Eben are just like, oh no, I'm a pretty lady. Come here. Right, at each other. They're having a good time. And but Sturm and Flint, I believe, are the ones who are, as we said at the beginning of the episode, complaining about this. Which is actually a weird lore drop moment, right? We learn that Sturm's mustache is a culturally significant practice for Solamnic humans, and that he would sooner die than shave it off. And Flint, of course, he's a dwarf. He just is gonna cover up his beard somehow. But also Riverwind, we learn about his tribal people's misogyny and how that has influenced him.
Deeply affected him. Yeah.
Even now.
See, I'm loving the scenario of just like imagining this in practice, of just one of the tribes people, the plains people is just like, they're in woman's clothing like, damn it, I'm so weak now, how will I fight? Meanwhile, their war leader Goldmoon just giving them side eye.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting character trait of Goldmoon's because she explains it She's like, well, look, this is how things were done. And like, yeah, maybe it's kind of stupid, but like, as the last people of our tribe, maybe it's important that he and I maintain this tradition. And it's like, girl, there is such a thing as being too diplomatic. Right? Like,
yeah,
it's interesting
there's time
to me.
to start changing some of your backwards ass traditions.
Yes, but I suppose her upset boyfriend is maybe not the right moment to do it. But
Which I get, I guess.
Yeah. But I'm very curious about that, though. Like, just I think it separates her from a lot of the other women. Finally, like it gives her like a very definitive character trait, where Laurana is very well defined. She's the ingenue who wants to be something more than an ingenue. Tika is also an ingenue who is trying to be something more than an ingenue, but she's got the and they've both got the horny adolescent girl thing going. Goldmoon finally is displaying some character traits where it's like, actually, she is diplomatic. She is sensitive to the emotional struggles of people around her, and she's thinking about them, and not just emotionally, but she's thinking about them politically too. Like that whole,
she is a lot more.
We're the last people of our tribe. Yeah, she's extremely mature, and she's willing to set aside her own feelings and whatnot in order to respect other people's boundaries to facilitate what they need to facilitate.
Yeah, something. She's an adult.
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know, she should become a high priest or something at some point, but
yeah, probably not.
But that's not going to be allowed for several books.
Because of someone in this chapter, I think. Right?
Yeah, who I become. Again, this is where I start. We don't really get him yet, though. We get him like chapter 14, briefly, which we haven't covered. We get the briefest thing. Oh yeah, he is in here. You're right.
Yes.
But this guy who is that chapter 12 or is that 13? Where we're
on chapter 12 right now.
Yeah. So I am his number one hater. If he has a single hater in this world, it's me. And it's not just because, well, I shouldn't spoil things, but God, I hate that man. And it's not because of anything he's done. It's because of what our cast deserves.
Yes, exactly.
The gods give him what others deserve.
Mm-hmm. Which to me feels, again, it's like the gods play politics as much as anybody else, because he's Elistan. He's one of the High Seekers. He literally is one of the religious leaders of these people who had forgotten about the gods, which should disqualify him, one would think, right?
Yep.
That he was part of this anti-god cult. But the fact is that, like, he is also, like, Goldmoon is diplomatic and brave and all these other wonderful noble qualities, but Elistan is like a tested politician. Yeah. Right? He knows how to lead a city-state from a position, if not a nation, from a position of religious authority. And so the fact that he has this, it seems in the chapter, this sliver of redemptive potential in him, right? Where he still believes in the gods. He just doesn't like them. I guess that's what makes him, in the eyes of the gods, the right man for the job, at least for a while. He's got the skill set.
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess we've basically spoiled it. So he's the one who becomes the actual high priest instead of Goldmoon. There's other stuff he does as well where it's like,
I mean, do we want to not spoil it? We could go back and you could put some cuts in here.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. They'll like a lot of the readers who are a lot of the readers who are following along have overpassed us because they like the book. So if we have this tiny little thing that we needed to explain why we hate this man, why I hate this man.
Well, and I think we're so vociferous about it that we are probably driving people to Dragonlance wikis right now as they listen.
Probably.
Like, what that guy? They were healing in that chapter? Why do they hate that guy?
I've never done that.
Just type
Not
in on
once.
why does William SRD and Google will autocomplete hate Elistan so much.
I mean, it is true. It is the number one search result when you look up William SRD, followed by William SRD controversy.
What autofills
Yeah.
when you actually type that? Now I'm going to find out.
All right, that's a good question.
Do I even get any autofills? Am I famous enough?
Why does William? No, not on my computer anyway.
Why does William SRD? Nothing. I do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not famous enough. Google hasn't heard
Well,
of me.
if the listeners are aggressive enough with their Google searches, we could make why does William SRD hate Elistan so much your first. So
Well, I will just. Why does William SRD? I'll just
Thanks,
copy and
buddy.
paste this. Thank you, AI. You're an incredibly useful and amazing tool, and we love it. There you go. No, because why does William SRD? That's none of this.
yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, what else happens here? Have we covered it all now in this chapter?
I think we covered most of the chapter. There is the whole interaction between Goldmoon and Elistan, which is quite interesting.
Okay,
She
fine. We'll
basically
cover
gives-
that actually then.
Yes, Goldmoon actually does the spiritual significant thing and gives the sermon, right? Where Elistan is like kind of being a jerk, and he's like, "Oh, you think you speak for the gods? Well, where are they? Show me," right? And Goldmoon basically explains, she uses this metaphor of like a precious gem that someone dropped in the woods, and they never go back into the forest to find it, right? But it's still there. It's not like the gem got up and grew legs and left them. They just left it behind and didn't go back once it was lost, which seems to be enough to completely turn Elistan's heart. So, Goldmoon's got the gift. Even if Elistan has the skills, because you turn someone's heart like that with one metaphor, man.
Can't believe she wasted her powers on this fucking guy. That was a whole ass spell slot. Someone else
my
could have
God.
used it.
She did heal him too, yeah.
We do also learn a bit about the traitor in our midst.
Yes.
I don't think they actually revealed who it was yet.
No, they didn't. It should be pretty obvious. We won't
Yeah.
loud because spoilers, but I whomst among us doesn't know at this point.
Right. And
I
we are
will
also
say that the one
finally-
thing that surprised me is one of my memories
Yes.
was wrong, and I remembered the Everman and the traitor being the same person.
Yes,
but-
I did too. I
Yeah.
thought Eben was the Everman, but he is not.
Oh yes, sorry, I didn't hear that. Eben's the traitor? What?
Well,
I never
believe
saw it
goes in
coming.
post.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I think it's because
I-
the names are so similar. It's Eben and
Yeah.
what's his name, Baron or something.
Barem, yeah.
Barem,
Or Barem. Mm-hmm. Yep. I definitely had that memory. I think in a previous episode of this podcast, I'm like, we'll learn more about Eben soon, thinking that I thought, I was so convinced in my brain that he was the Everman, but
Hauntie,
But
we've
he's
been
not.
sent here from the same Mandela dimension.
yeah, exactly. But thank God. No, but the chapter ends with a thesis statement on short people from Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman through the voice of Tasselhoff, where he's talking with Fizban and he's all bummed out because he's so small, and then he remembers what his father told him about small people doing small things or something like that to that add up, right? And I think that's sort of the thesis through the whole Dragonlance series of these tiny people, the gnomes, the gully dwarves, the Kender, the dwarves, etc. Some people accuse Wise and Hickman of strictly using tiny characters for comedy, but I'd like to think there's a little more heart in that in their depictions than people give them credit for. And we also get, and in that thesis we get Tasselhoff's hero moment, right, where we see that he's got some real mettle. And again, this is, I think, a redemptive moment for the Kender, because after he says this whole little speech, like, he says, what is it? He says, "We'll leave the big things to the others. They've got Tanis and Sturm and Goldmoon. They'll manage. We'll do the small thing, even if it doesn't seem very important. We're going to rescue Sestin, the gully dwarf who is currently cowering in the corner because Pyros refuses to eat him."
It's such a sweet moment. You get the little moments
really
where
is.
Tass is just like, that's a damn hero right there.
Yeah. Yep. He has as much metal, if not more, than a lot of the people he travels with, actually.
Well, of course. I mean, he's currently traveling around with a half-crazed wizard, and his battle plan is, we gotta save the dude.
Yeah.
He helped us. We have to help him.
Exactly. And, because he's kind-hearted, but also I think it also reminds us that, the Kender aren't just immune to fear, right? They are fearless, that there's a difference there, and it's a meaningful difference. And so he's going to he's fearlessly going to save his little friend. Well, I guess for him, same size friend, but
Yeah.
Tasselhoff's a bro.
Tasselhoff,
He's not going to leave a bro behind.
Is a homie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's totally right. Like, victories are made of many small things together, and they've just got one big thing. So, like, let's not pretend we're helpless here. Mm-hmm. We've got many small things together doing small jobs, and it'll all add up to something.
Exactly. It's a good moment that leads us into chapter 13. A chapter about a hat.
A chapter about a hat.
A poor abused hat.
That has been set on fire by the puffball.
Yes.
That puffball's father wouldn't have done that.
No, absolutely not. Gosh. So what happens in this chapter?
A lot of it's kind of just like resolving the stuff we already talked about. Pyros and Verminard argue some more. Eben argues about traitors some more.
With a little cut on his face, and Tika's like, "Ooh, I'll wash it for you." And he's like, "Thanks, I got in a fight." Yeah, sure he did. Sure he did.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of dead dudes following him, so.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. And then Fizban and Tass get caught.
Mm-hmm. They do. Sort of. Did they get caught? It's already been a few days, and I've already forgotten.
Well, they haven't gotten, like, caught. They got spotted.
Oh, they got...
they got spotted because the hat fell, and they're like, oh, no.
Yes.
And Dragon proceeded to do what a large fire-breathing dinosaur will do.
Mm-hmm. How did they rescue Sestin?
The levitate spell.
Yeah,
humorously, and to kind of show off his power, Fizban does first start raising the sleeping dragon before settling him gently back down on the ground. I mean, like,
he was very insulted at the idea of using a rope. A wizard doesn't need a rope. A wizard packs spells for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually... Oh, keep going.
Well, I don't know what kind of the levitate spell has back in this edition of D&D.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely he's pulling off something that's a lot more impressive than a normal wizard would be doing with that spell.
Yeah.
But one thing, this is one of these things where I'm like, this is a throwaway moment in the book, but it's actually not a throwaway moment, and I think it's a lot more clever than people realize. And I only say this because I've read so much Wise and Hickman that I have seen this character pop up in other books. But he says, specifically when he starts lifting up Pyros, he says, and he's called out on it, he's like, "Missed my aim. Now I'm zeroed in. Let's try again. Does that seem weird to you? A weird thing for a fantasy wizard to say? Now I'm zeroed in?
He's
A
dual-classed or
little bit,
multi-classed or something into fighter pilot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Like zeroing
Yeah.
in it's a modern thing that someone says. It's not fantasy language, and that's intentional. That's not the writers using a modern colloquialism accidentally. That is an intentional character trait of Fizban's, that he will occasionally reference things from other worlds, including our own.
Yeah, because
So
he's
keep an eye
some
out for
kind
that.
of uber powerful wizard, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, on a minor scale, it's technically very anachronistic to when people say like fire to like shoot your bow. Because
Exactly.
that's for guns. That's where that came from. Nobody
Yeah,
ever
right.
said
We would-
fire. Like,
He would loose.
you would loose.
Yeah.
You would, yeah. Would they say shoot?
Exactly.
I don't think they would
I
say
don't know
shoot.
about
I'm-
Old English. Would they say shoot?
I don't know, because like a lot of the times they do, because a lot of my knowledge just comes from movies, and every movie does it wrong, because you would never draw, then hold, then loose. You would just fucking
Shoot
start firing
is-
your arrows.
Shoot is it was probably used, so you would loose an arrow, and I think you would shoot a sling bullet. Because
okay.
shoot is Old English, but it meant to shoot or to throw. So to launch a
Got it.
projectile.
And
So
then
something from a
because
sling.
now we think of guns where you shoot like a sling.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it's just we can't even think of other words for it anymore. You just shoot.
It's the Tiffany effect, right?
Yeah. Shoot third person single plural pronoun shoots to launch a projectile.
Look up the Tiffany effect reader or listener if you do not know what it is. It's cool. But yeah, so we get this interesting language from Fizban, and we're going to get some more, I think, explicit, interesting language from him. It's not entirely out of character for D&D at that era, though. There were other examples of powerful wizards doing this. I mean, after all, Elminster would regularly travel to Ed Greenwood's kitchen in the middle of the night for a late night snack and a conversation, which was always a brilliant bit of writing in Dragon Magazine. And now I've hopefully redeemed myself in Ed's eyes. Please respond to my tweets again. So it's not super uncharacteristic, but I do think it's something that readers going forward should be paying attention to. There's a lot to pay attention to with Fizban, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot going on. He does have that little moment. I think we missed it. I think it was last chapter where he Men in Black's Tass's memories. And you notice
Yes,
when he does
with the
that, he
paintings.
very suddenly changes the way that he's speaking.
Yes, he does. And even the way that the painting that Tasselhoff was viewing, which was, I think, this beautiful depiction of the Dragon Wars, he even changes Tass's perception of it. When Tasselhoff looks at it after his memory of it is erased, it's just a dusty old painting again, right? Like there's none of this glorious imagery on it.
Yep.
So what is Fizban revealing, and why is he revealing it in that moment and then making Tasselhoff forget about the revelation?
Yep.
Who knows? And why does he talk in that room like he knows that he knew it was there in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think that
not because
I
he's
think
been
that
here
covers
before.
everything, doesn't it?
I think for the most part.
For chapter 13? Just about. Let me see.
They
Oh,
escaped
there
from
was the
getting
daring
fire breathed
escape.
on them. Yeah.
Yep. Merida talks a bit more about how Flamestrike is a little old lady. We see how Pyros gets in and out of the, or we sort of assume how, no. Well, Tasselhoff and Tasselhoff and Fizban make their escape from the dragon. And it is very dramatic.
Yes. Darkness is cast.
Yeah, darkness. They're running over chains. Shit is getting melted.
it once again it's a really good use of dragon as environmental hazard rather than monster you fight on a grid, right? Like the way they describe like him looking through the hole in the wall and breathing fire at them and creating all of these problems that they have to address, rather than just it's not combat, right? This is not a fight. This is not an initiative.
Yeah, it's
round.
a puzzle.
This is them. Exactly. It's a really good use of dragons. Game masters take note. And although again, Fizban is like killed by a dragon because Tasselhoff's like, we almost died. And and Fizban talks about a dragon like they're like it's so beneath him, the idea of being killed by a mere dragon.
Killed by a dragon? Not on this man's country. What?
I've never been so insulted. Quick, down the chain.
I'll never get killed by a dragon.
Yeah, please. Fizban's weird.
Indeed.
Yes.
That's a good... I think that's the perfect way to end the episode. Fizban's weird.
Yeah.
Fizban is weird. Find out next time.
Just how weird he is. Well, I don't think we find out. Do we find out just how weird he is? I don't know.
I hope so. I mean...
No. Well.
It's a slow burn.
Yes. Yes, it is.
That leads
much
to
like
weird.
the burning in Fizban's the puffball. I mean, the burning in his hat.
Yes.
In his hat.
In his hat. The burning in his hat.
That's what you were going to say, right?
The puffball.
We're keeping this PG-13.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what you were thinking I was going to say.
I am going to insert redacted sounds here.
Yeah, I think that does it. So, do we do an outro? Have we ever done an outro?
We did one last time where I told people to
ramble.
get out, leave. We don't want you around anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to find out if people come back.
Well, and then M said no, and I said, you got to let them go, M, because the listener's been dead for years.
I still haven't let them go.
Oh, yeah, quick
I'm
reminder
still
before we
holding
split
on.
off, everybody, reading target is end of the first novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huzzah. And I can't wait for chapter 14. Oh my god. If Kisanth was my MILF, then this is my GILF on the way.
How's for an outro?
That'll work.
Is M rating me another fucking thing I have to read and be super embarrassed about reading?
I can't.
Because I'll do it. I'm crazy.
Okay, you know what? Let's become creatively bankrupt. I'm gonna type into my search bar here, Chat GPT. Give me an outro for a podcast.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're doing this live. Dragonlance.
We're doing it live.
We're doing this dragon live.
Give me an outro to a Dragonlance.
This is what happens when you enjoy talking to each other so much and you can't stop.
Yeah. Oh, God, this is the worst part about friendship.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Oh, man. Imagine if we just started to dislike each other. Em, you're short, I think. I don't honestly know how tall you are.
I've got this. Until next time, may your sword stay sharp, your spells never fizzle, and your companions always have your back. For the road winds on, and the story is far from over. I think we've done way better than that. Anyway, see you.
I'm not gonna lie, but that one that one went really hard. I think that was significantly better than any of the other outros that we've got.
You can't say that. Now I feel inadequate. Okay, goodbye, listener.